good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Michael. Finally got to see the film. Though, funny enough, I don't think I mentioned this before in the channel yet. I am now currently working at a movie theater. It's a place called Hooky. It's like a more, I guess, bougie, up. I don't know what the bougie, I don't know whatever. The more higher end, I guess. I'm not exactly sure of the right word to describe the theater than, say, your typical AMC or Regal. By that, I mean they got reclining seats. They have like a menu of food that you can order, and it's like sent directly to your seat. And then like on the upper end, on the upper floor for the first three theaters, which is like the big ones with the big screens, they have like little tables that you can put the food on where the people will directly send you your food right now. It's pretty cool. I haven't gotten to see a movie there, but I'm working there as an usher. So basically, I just cleaned there, which is basically what I was doing back when I was working in Bahrain. When I did the movie theater thing there, I was basically doing the same thing, just cleaning the theaters when the movies come out. But yeah, so because of that, man, of course, Michael came out like 2 weeks ago. I would try to avoid whenever the movie was screening. I would try to avoid really only coming during like the last 10 or so minutes of the movie. So I had already seen the ending, which is the bad performance, which I'm kind of surprised by, because with how much the trailers were putting in the bad performance and whatnot, I thought that would have actually gotten covered in the movie, but it doesn't. Now, given the fact, as you guys know, the original cut of the movie was originally going to focus on initially on the first of the scandals about him molesting kids or whatever. That was gonna be the whole thing, but then they found out that that family, in the settlement with that family, they couldn't be mentioned in any like media, films or whatnot, so they had to scrap that and damn near reshoot an entire new third act of the film to work around that, to change it. So maybe that like would have been mixed in there. We'll see more of bad and that, but yeah, I thought it was kind of surprised that like that's all Bad gets. I guess part 2 will focus on Bad and the rest of his albums up to his death, I suppose. But yeah, so I'd already seen the ending of the movie like 5-10 times by this point, because the movie was because of when I was working, if not more times. So, but yeah, man. Anyway, the film itself is phenomenal, man. I absolutely love this film, man. It's really well shot and directed too, I must say, man. Antoine Fuqua, who you guys may remember is the director of the movie. He was also director for, I believe he was also director for Training Day and the Equalizer movie, right? Yeah, Training Day, The Equalizers, the Magnificent Seven as well. Brother's done a lot of movies, but yeah, he was the director for this. I forget who I forget who the DP is, and I'm not seeing anything really right in front of me on Google that mentions the DP, but the DP, man, whoever the DP for the movie went, he did a phenomenal job as well, man. The movie looks really good, I must say. The cinematography and the directing for the film is fantastic. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought Bad was going to have a little bit more focus in the movie, but no, like I said, just like there at the end of the movie with the bad performance at Wembley. So I guess part 2 will be that one where they'll actually focus on Bad and everything in the rest of his albums, and I'm assuming cover the other, I think it was like, what, two more after that one was the thing, right? At least back in the 90s when it was happening about the scandal. So, I'm sure unless they also signed NDAs or whatever, they could be mentioned. I guess part 2 is when we'll get to see whatever they maybe were originally planning to do with part 1 in part 2. I would assume so. I don't know. But, which I just gotta say, man, real quick, before we jump right into the movie, so like, I don't know how that got missed. Like, you would think if you were making a biopic on Michael Jackson, and, he has a very controversial and storied career, you'd think the first thing you do before a word of a screenplay, before the screenwriter even sits down at his desk to start writing, they would check this shit beforehand. Check the contract, and not wait till after everything was already shot to be like, oh, fuck, we have to reshoot this. I don't know how you missed it that far into the process of making the film, but somehow it happened. I don't know. You'd think they would have some lawyers look this shit up beforehand just to make sure their bases were covered, but I guess that just slipped their mind. Though I do hope that original version of the film does come out. Like, it'll probably have to leak in order. I doubt it'll ever come out in an official capacity, because I'm very curious to see what that original cut was going to be from the little bits of it that's been revealed since the movie got announced and everything, and when it was announced that the movie was going to go after major reshoots. Which, shout out to the editors also for the film, man, that they had when they had to re-edit this entire movie, basically. So shout out to them, because they did a really good job restructuring the movie. But anyway, regardless of such, man, like I said, do hope one day that original cut of the film leaks in some capacities, because I'm just very curious to see what that version of the film looked like compared to the one that actually got released. But regardless of such, man, let's get into the actual movie itself. So like I mentioned before, the movie is directed by Antoine Fuqua and stars Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, Miles Teller, Coleman Domingo, Nia Long, if I pronounced her name right. Mike Myers is also credited in the movie. I swear on my life, I never saw him once in the movie. I don't know where he was, who he was playing, but I swear to God, he ain't in the movie. I never once saw him in the movie. I don't know if I blinked and missed it. He was wearing a shit ton of makeup or something. I swear to God, I never once saw him in the movie. So I don't know where he was playing. If you guys know who he was playing or whatever, leave it down below in the comments, because I'm very curious. Because when I saw that in the credits when I would be cleaning the theaters, I was like, oh, he's in there along with Miles Teller. Oh, cool. And then I watched him like, where the fuck is he? I was confused. I was like, where was he? What did I blink and miss it? Where was he? But yeah, anyway, and many more. And the plot of Michael obviously tells the story of Michael Jackson from, his start of the career of the Jackson 5 up towards his production on Thriller, covering about the relationship he had with his father, Joe Jackson. Now, let's talk about the cast. First off, man, of course, let's talk about Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew. Talk about keeping it in the family. And as you guys know, this is his first acting role. He never had before, had already started releasing some music, which when I did see the first show, I actually did go back and listen to some of his music, more specifically, I think the song's called Caught Me Singing, I believe is a track. That's the one I listened to. Very good song. If you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's actually low-key a banger. I actually kind of fucks with that song. But yeah, and I have to say, man, I mentioned some of this in my trailer reactions to the movie about his transformation, man. But he's great, man. Like, obviously, I mentioned in my trailer reaction, like, how shocked I was at how closely he sounded like Michael Jackson with, like, a very high-pitched voice. But looked like him pretty well, man. I'm assuming they gave him probably wore some makeup and prosthetics to better look like him. Though part 2 is definitely where he's really going to show his acting chops, because, he's going to have to wear a shit ton more makeup and prosthetics because of vitiligo, all the nose jobs he got, man. Part 2 should be interesting. I'm curious to see how long he'll be in the makeup chair when they're filming part 2, especially during, like, the latter half of the film, once he's, like, had, like, multiple nose jobs, his skin is completely pale white. I'm very curious to see how long he's in the makeup chair whenever they get to those parts of the film for part 2. But he's great, man. I think for a guy that's never acted a day in his life before him, man, I think he did a great job for his first movie. Am I going to be clamoring and demanding that Jafar should be nominated for Best Actor? No, he ain't that good, but he was very good for the movie. Miles Teller is great. Coleman Domingo, who is an actor, I don't think I've seen anything else of his in it. Let me see what else is in here. The Running Man, haven't seen it yet, but I want to. He's in The Walking Dead, Disclosure Day, never seen this. He's in Candyman. He's also in I think he plays Norman in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man America, but I might be wrong. He's in 42, The Birth of a Nation for 2016, which I think I saw, Selma, The Butler. Okay, I've seen a couple other movies he's been in, but this is like the first, but I don't really remember what his roles were in any of those films. Candyman, like I said, he's on Dead Man Wire, which is another movie I want to go check out. But he's great, man. I think he did a good job as Joe Jackson. I also should preface this review for anyone that's like new, that isn't part of the channel, that's like, that's outside of my subscriber base. I am a very casual Michael Jackson fan. I like his music. I've listened to a handful of songs, but I am by no means an expert. I cannot come in here and talk about the intricacies of what actor, what isn't, what they changed from what happened in real life. I'm just here to tell you if the movie's good or not. That is the purpose of this video, man. Just an FYI. I forgot to mention, I wanted to mention the start, but I forgot. But yeah, so I cannot speak to that, but I thought he did pretty good as Joe Jackson. Miles Teller, he plays, I'm assuming, Michael's lawyer. I think that was his role. Maybe it was his publicist. I'm not entirely sure. They never really specified who exactly he was. If he was his lawyer, maybe like a publicist, I'm not entirely sure. But hey, it's always great to see Miles Teller. You guys know I'm a big fan of his work, so it's always good to see Miles Teller in a film whenever he pops up. Now, obviously, as you guys probably saw, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I got to see the movie in IMAX. So talk about the obvious thing. How's the film in IMAX, man? Obviously, the IMAX experience is great. Hearing Michael Jackson's music blasting on IMAX speakers, man, was a good time, man. I was dancing in my seat a little bit, singing along to a couple of the songs, man. Not like singing, but like singing to myself or just mouthing the lyrics, because obviously I'm not trying to, disturb anyone. But I'm sure other people were probably singing along in their own way, maybe my theater or other theaters throughout, when the movie came out opening weekend and whatnot. But yeah, it's great, man. The sound design for the film is phenomenal, man, which I'm sure you guys are expecting given the fact that this movie was in IMAX. I also actually got to get the collectible tickets that they have, which is apparently like a thing Regal's been doing for years, having these like collectible tickets for like their IMAX movies. But like, I swear to God, for as long as I've been going to Regal, man, I've never seen any of these. So I was happy when I got there and I saw it. I was like, oh, cool, they finally have them. Also, one other thing I want to quickly mention before we get in is that I actually got to see the trailer. One of the trailers they played for me was actually the Billie Eilish movie, which you guys know is directed by James Cameron. It's going to be in 3D and everything. It's a concert documentary movie, basically, but it's in 3D, and James is like directing it, or co-directing with Billie Eilish herself. Looked great, man. Obviously, I didn't get to see it in 3D because it was in 2D, but I'm definitely curious to check out the movie, and I'm definitely going to see if I can catch it in IMAX 3D for no other reason than it's James Cameron, and I got to go there for him. I've never listened to Billie Eilish outside of her Bond track, but I'm there for. But James Cameron's directing, so that already had me sold, regardless of Billie Eilish. But yeah, it looks great, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie just out of curiosity, how it turns out, and how the 3D is in Ford and everything. But anyway, back to the movie. Back to Michael. The movie, like I said, the sound design for the film is great. I love it sounds amazing here. Michael Jackson's music blasting in IMAX speakers. Honestly, after watching the movie, I low-key want to go back and listen to his entire discography after watching the film. But yeah, like I said, the cinematography and directing for the movie is great as well, man. I did also and then also the overall relationship between Michael and Joe, I thought was done really well. You could definitely kind of see the fear Michael had of his father. And Jesus Christ, bro, when we get to the scene where Joe is whipping Michael, bro, this man whipping him like Michael was a slave. And like, there was also a bit of like relatability to this one because there's another scene later on in the movie, slight spoilers guys, where he makes Michael pick the belt, which my dad has told me stories back when he was a kid. His father, my grandfather, who I used to call Pops back when he was alive, would make him choose the weapon of choice to get whipped by. I guess that was a common thing in black households, to make your son choose their death instrument. to choose their weapon of choice. But yeah, man, seriously, I was like looking at him like, God damn, bro, he got it out so quick too. You thought Michael was a slave with how he was whipping him, bro. God damn. Anyway, but yeah, there was also I also really liked there were certain scenes with that where they did like close-ups of Michael's face, and some other scenes meant to like really show you just kind of how scared and how imposing Joe was in the family to the family, man. I thought Colin Dimmick did a pretty good job. Though I will say, to kind of jump ahead and go into my negatives of the movie, man, I will say he does kind of come off a bit. Now I don't know how, like, if this is just completely accurate in the movie, like, change some certain things up for the sake of the film and everything, but he does kind of come off like a cartoon villain at times. Like, there's this one scene where he's in Michael's room reading a book when he walks in, and bro might as well have been sitting in a chair, turning a lamp on while stroking a cat. That's how the scene came off. He might as well have been there being like, hello, Michael. like some Bond villain or something, man. But yeah, the sound design for great, man. I thought the acting was solid, man. The cinematography is phenomenal, man. Seeing the behind the scenes of how the Thriller album was made, some of the stuff with the Jackson 5, the Jackson was obviously really cool, man. I do wish Billie Jean got a little bit more focus. Like, we obviously seen the Motown performance, they mentioned a little bit of the whole thing with MTV, but I kind of wish we got to see like that music video's production a little bit. The only one they really focus on in terms of production of the music is Thriller, which makes sense. It's Thriller, but I would have liked to see Billie Jean also get some showcase, because if you ask me what my favorite Michael Jackson song is, that one would be up there, I would say. That one would be up there. Also, by the way, how many of y'all remember Michael Jackson, The Experience, man? The gameplay's been playing right now, assuming the video doesn't get copyrighted and I have to like mute the audio, the game audio or whatever. But yeah, I had so much fun playing this game back in the day, man, both the Kinect version and the Move version, so shout out to anyone that remembers that game and used to play it back in the day, man. I actually really enjoyed it, man. And like, honest to God, man, I was a Kinect owner, man, back in the day when it was out on 360. It always worked relatively well for me, and I never really had major issues with my Kinect. Just saying. Honest to God, man, mine always worked pretty well, man. I never really had any major issues like a lot of people were complaining about the Kinect not working. I had some pretty small rooms I was working within for some of its lifestyle too, so Just saying. Anyway, but yeah, I did wish Billie Eilish got Billie Eilish. Billie Jean got a little bit more focus and showed us how that music video's production came around. We get to see a little bit of Beat It as well, where it gets gang violence with the Blood and the Crips, which I'm sure this when it just first started popping up was kind of the inspiration for that. There's also this other scene, man, once again, where it feels like the movie like almost expects you to know who this is, where Joe is speaking to this black guy where they're smoking cigars. I'm assuming he's some sort of boxing booker. They never really specify who this guy is, and I'm just kind of watching the scene, like this is like a little bit later on in the movie, and I'm just like, who are you? What exactly is your job, your position? Why are you in this house? Like, I do wish somebody gave us some sort of like small, like even a line says like, oh yes, boxing booker, or whatever his name is, man. That would have been nice, just for like people like me that aren't like, you know, experts in Michael Jackson's and know his entire life story and career would be like, what? Who is this guy? Like, what? That aren't confused. Also, one other thing that I will say, man, that I that's annoying is that they played this. Is that the version of what the hell is the song called? I think it was called "Work It Day and Night," which was like apparently one of the songs from what the hell is that album called? Forget the name of the album. Michael Jackson's first studio album when he went solo. That song, that version of the song is nowhere to be found. I really love the beat of it too, man. And it's really, even if you go on the official movie soundtrack, man, it just has, I'm assuming the version of the song ripped from the actual, like, you know, what the hell is the name of that album called? Hold on, let me look this up. Just so I know what the album cover, what the album is. Off the Wall. I'm pretty sure it's just ripped from that version rather than the version actually used in the movie, which is really annoying because I really like that song and I wish it was included on the soundtrack or any official convention so I can listen to it by itself, but it's nowhere to be seen. So that's annoying. But yeah, I think that's about all I got for you guys, man. The movie's phenomenal. I don't know why this movie's been getting so critically panned. I don't know. I don't know what people are smoking, man. And yeah, man, the movie's phenomenal. Obviously, I'm excited to see what part 2 is going to bring. There's obviously a lot of directions they could go with it. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention, I also wish Michael's vitiligo got a little bit more focus in this movie, man. I would have liked to see like how what happened when it first started popping up and see Michael's reaction to that and seeing him maybe having to deal with that a little bit. But they just kind of give it one offhand message when he is getting his first nose job, and then there's another scene where you see him pulling off his glove and you can see the discoloration in his skin a little bit. I do wish his vitiligo got a little bit more focus, but then again, they could easily save that for part 2 because, you know, that's when Michael Jackson went pale white. So they could easily really talk about his vitiligo in part 2. So probably that's where they're probably just saving it for that more than likely. But I do wish they kind of got a little bit more focus in this movie, and we at least got like a couple scenes of him of when it first started popping up for Michael and him having to, you know, deal with it and whatnot. That would have been cool. But anyway, guys, I'm excited for part 2, man. Looking forward to whenever it comes out. And yeah, anyway, guys, overall, I give this movie a 9.5 out of 10, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like, if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me also if you feel like it. Links are across below. And it's always back for more. See you guys next time.